I think that I often forget this. I'm not aware of so much non-verbal communication going on. And I think a lot of people have this. This verbal part is actually a very recent development, the speech, and the non-verbal part is present in all animals that walk the prairie and get startled from a lion, and then everyone starts to run. And I think it leads us to many mistakes, that we forget this non-verbal part in the communication. And one story I'm using to illustrate that is about a horse. A horse that was called Clever Hans. And the horse lived in Germany in 1904. And he had an owner, Van Oosten, and Van Oosten traveled the country with his horse because he taught his horse how to answer questions. And he drew in a lot of people, and he didn't ask any money for it. And the horse answered the question by stamping with his hoof. And he gave a number, and that was the answer of the question. And everyone was really amazed by this. And he even got invited to perform for the Emperor, Kaiser Wilhelm. After that, the government instituted a commission to find out if Van Oosten was an impostor. And perhaps also if he secretly did charge money for his performances, in which case he didn't report it for the taxes. But the committee concluded that it was not an impostor. But still skeptics remained, and they made a bigger commission, now with a field marshal in it, and the director of the Berlin Zoo, and a veterinarian. And they started looking into these things, and they detected three things. One thing is that Hans could also answer the questions when they were not verbalized. Hans could not answer the questions if the questioner did not know the answer himself. And the other thing was that, what was the third thing? Well, let's skip the first thing.
Hans didn't know that one.
Didn't know the answer to the question. So it is not verbalized, and but also other people, he could answer the questions of other people than his owner, Van Oosten. That was the first thing. And after some deliberations, they figured out what was going on. If someone asked a question, he bent slightly forward. When he was finished, he came up straight, started looking at Hans, the horse, who's over there now. And Hans, that was a signal for Hans to start stamping his hoof. Now, the questioner was in anticipation whether Hans would get the right answer, was tensed. And then when Hans got to the right number, he was relaxed and stood like this. This was the signal for Hans to stop stamping his hoof and collect his snack. So what Hans was doing, he was reading the body language of the questioner. And even when people were told this was going on, they could not stop themselves from giving out these clues. And Hans could keep answering their questions. And I think the reason why such a big commission was needed to figure this out was because we are unaware of this fact that so much non-verbal communication is going on. Now, the second example I'm going to give you is about a test they did with rats. They had a bunch of rats and a bunch of students. They split the rats in two groups, and the students also. Oh. And they gave some of these rats to the group of students, one group of students, and they told these students, your rats are really smart. They're bred for intelligence. Your rats are the Vasco da Gamas among rats. They can find their way through anything. And these other rats they gave to other group of students. They said, well, your rats are a bit dumbasses. Make it the best you can, but no guarantees. Then they asked these students to train their rats to find their way through a maze to a bunch of food. And lo and behold, the students that had the idea that they had intelligent rats, who were just the same rats, got better results. Their rats performed better than the ones who thought they had dumbass rats. Now, how is this possible? If you just start to think about what is going on there, no word is being spoken. It was all non-verbal communication. Somehow these students communicated to the rats that they had high expectations, and somehow these rats thought, oh, he has high expectations, I better perform better. This is really amazing. But still, this could be explained by the fact that students who were told they had dumb rats didn't put a lot of effort in it, because I have dumb rats anyway, so I can get away with a bad result. So therefore I have a third story And the third story is a very similar experiment. They took a bunch of pictures of people, and they were pre-screened for being neutral. So these people were not successful, not unsuccessful, just average cubicle dwellers. And they handed half of these pictures to a group of students and the other half to another group of students. Same as with the rats. They said to one group of students, they said, well, these people on your picture, they are very successful people. And to the other group of students, they said, well, these people on your picture, they are, that's a bit, not so good. But then they asked these students to take a test from the people they had on their picture. But they said, there is a problem that we told you already, that this person is successful or unsuccessful, and that can influence the test. So what we did is we made a script. And you have to follow the script. You can only say what is on the script. You're not allowed to deviate one word of it. So your content cannot betray your preconception of them being successful or not. And what they did, the students went to took the question, and lo and behold, you might expect it by now, the students that expected a more successful person also obtained a higher result, that they scored better in the test than the people who expected to talk to a non-successful person. And what the researchers then also did, they wanted to figure out what is it that communicates this to these people and how does it work. So they just recorded the sound, just the students asking the questions. So the next time they could leave the whole student out, the physical presence of the student was gone, and they just played the sound. So that separates the body language from the verbal stuff. And what happened is that even then the phenomenon was present. It was half as strong, but it was still there. So that means that the communication about if you think someone is successful is for a part also in the voice. And it matters a lot, and I'd like you to give you an example. I could, for example, finish off with, do you understand? But I could also finish up with, do you understand?